Hey, would you like to speak with Miss Griffin?
Sure. How are you?
Please, nobody else try to chime in. They have past relations, and I know they know each other. Go ahead, Tiff. The
Relations?
link
Wait,
is in
wait,
the.
relations?
No,
Relations?
not relations, but y'all spoken before. Y'all spoken before,
We
and I know
spoken.
y'all have some type of friendship, acquaintance, whatever.
Greetings, greetings, everybody. Hello, Mr. Johnson. Hello, TC. Thank you for allowing me on the show.
No
How are
problem.
you?
I'm well, thank you. I'm listening to what you guys are saying, and maybe I can offer some clarity as to some of your questions, Mr. Johnson. The first one you were asking was, how do we know that this is happening? Well,
No,
you
no,
may
no,
not
no,
know
no. Whoa,
this.
whoa, 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 whoa. My first question is, what is to be accomplished that benefits the school out of all this?
Well, this is how, in my opinion, and again, I'm going to publicly state that I do not speak for Dr. Johnson and I do not speak for the school. I'm not speaking for them. I'm giving my opinion because you asked for opinions, correct?
Well, yeah. Well, I asked him the opinion specifically on
Okay.
purpose because I have talked to him in the past, and he's familiar with what I do, so he can understand the motivation in my question. You see what I'm saying?
Okay. Yes, yes. So my
Not
opinion
that I'm
is,
trying. I don't want to get it misconstrued that if I say something, and you did say something, my man TC, are you still there?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, you said something about. I thought he was. You said something about well, he's saying that Umar is doing something. I forgot what you said, but it kind of
Well,
insinuated that
I said he's asking he's asking his supporters to come out and support the school, and also he did say that it was going to turn into a social event. So,
right. But you said something about I was insinuating he was. Uh, I don't remember
well,
the
well,
exact
well,
words.
yeah. Well, I said basically you want to make sure that Umar's not insinuating like throwing
There you
gasoline on the
go.
fire.
That's the word. Yeah,
Right.
that's what you
You
said.
want to make sure that black folks aren't gathering up and harm is going to be done to black folks either by black folks or others, just trying to gather a large group of black folks together and something happens. You want to
Well,
make sure,
let me
yeah, go
clarify
ahead and
myself.
clarify it. Yeah, no
Let me
problem.
clarify myself.
Hmm.
What I'm saying is that the rhetoric can be implied. It can be implied by the rhetoric and the picture that somebody's preparing to do something physical to someone else, not just two people with opposing views, ranting, raving at each other like we do all the time when we protest. Okay, it doesn't always have to get physical, but protest, basically a nonviolent protest.
All right, yeah, no problem, no
Can,
problem. That's why I didn't want to misquote you. But
yeah,
yeah, you and Tiffany could take the floor. I'm in the store right now.
yeah. So basically, what I was wanting to say was the reason why we know that these people are up to no good and are planning to be violent is because you may not know this, sir, but we are in the comment section of some of the anti-fraud people's
hold,
videos.
Miss Tiffany,
Yes, sir.
can you hear
Yes,
me?
sir. Yes. Yes,
Okay,
sir.
I want to, and I don't mean any disrespect to you, but when you say these people, what I said in the beginning was the letter doesn't say who. All it does is say the email says anti-Afro warriors or whatever, but there has no name, no organization, no person that we can say and point to and say, okay, that's the person that's starting this, and we're going to deal with this person or this organization because they kind of deal with us. All they're doing is using a banner of anti-Afro American. And then what I told him was, suppose it was somebody who's not even, let's say they're not even in the United States, and they send this email out just to get some dissension going on between the people who support my son and the people who don't. You see what I'm saying? So I'm saying rationally, I'm trying to understand why that couldn't have been thought as a scenario as opposed to the people that y'all say are supporting these anti people and the people who support them. I'm just rationally trying to understand this.
Well, the reason why is because, sir, and this is no disrespect to you, you may not know how these people operate and move. We've been studying them. We know how they operate and they are enemies to what your son is trying to do.
I understand,
So,
Tiffany, but and I don't mean no disrespect, but the thing is, a hidden group. I'm not talking about the people we know who run their mouth. We're not talking about them. I'm talking about the people who are inciting this. The same person who may have busted the windows out, supposedly because Umar was going to talk there. I'm saying we can't put our finger on anyone that we can say conspired with them to do this. Am I wrong about that? I mean, proof now. I'm not talking about how you feel. I'm talking about, do we have proof? That
Yes, we
they
do. This
conspired?
is what I'm trying to
What's the proof?
explain to you. If you would please
Okay.
allow me to speak instead
Okay,
of
but
cutting
please
off and
just give me
interjecting
something
me.
direct. Please give me something direct of proof.
Do you understand and get that the environment that they have fostered with their hate for your son has
I
created the
understand
environment?
that. I understand that. Yes, I understand.
Anti-Afro is not going. We need more stickers, ma'am. Anti-Afro is not going to show up on the grounds herself. She is a coward. Okay, that's something you need to understand. So again, sir, if you could just allow me to speak without.
Okay, but see, the thing is,
is
Tiffany, I don't want to be long-winded. I just want you to give me a name that we can attach to any of them, that we can say we know for a fact that they are on a line with these people and that they, in fact, are trying to do this to my son. That's all I'm asking.
Sir, with all disrespect, when you were speaking, I did not interject and I did not interrupt you. If
Okay,
you could
but
just
see,
give
the
me
thing
that
is,
same
Tiffany,
respect.
I know you will go long-winded on me, and I don't want to talk long-winded.
Okay,
All
now
due
you're being
respect.
disrespectful towards me because you're basically saying that what I have to say isn't valid. And
That's
that's
not
not
what I'm
fair.
saying.
If we're going to have a productive conversation, you have to give
That's
me the
not what
same
I'm
respect
saying.
I'm giving
That's
you.
not what I'm saying. That's not what I'm saying.
All
I'm
right, all
very
right.
well
And may I
aware.
speak,
All
sir?
right, all right. Let's do this. Let's do this. Go ahead and Tiff. Go ahead, Tiff. Go ahead and speak.
This
We're
is my
going to
point,
go through
TC. I'm going to speak to you
Go ahead.
because apparently Mr. Johnson don't value what I'm about to say. So I'm going to go ahead and speak to you. TC, you and I both know that we're in the comment section of their videos. We see what their supporters say, what they're going to do, the violence that they have said,
I know all
that they're
this.
going to inflict on Dr. Johnson. So if she puts out a rally call and her minions, her brainless minions come out and make threats towards the school and the mission, it makes perfect sense how they would show up at the school and try to violate the property. Dr. Johnson has a right to protect the property of those children. That school doesn't belong to him. It belongs to the kids. It belongs to the race. It belongs to the mission. So he has a right to counter protect. I'm not done yet. You know what, TC, you know. Okay.
No, we can put a time limit on it. This way it's respectful.
Yeah. No. Okay. All right. So let's do this. Mr. Johnson, I'm gonna mute your mic one time. And all right, go ahead, Tiffany.
Basically, what I'm saying is Dr. Johnson has a right to protect his property and to protect the property of the children. If these people, and people probably have screenshotted comments that they said about breaking up the school, bashing up the school. We all have seen it. TC, you've seen it. I've seen it. He has a right to call for his supporters to come out and protect that property. Nobody talked about violence. Dr. Johnson was talking about having a social gathering prior to them even coming with the F stuff. So, yeah, he has a right, and he's not wrong for that. He's not wrong. Thank you. I'm done, sir.
Okay. All right, Mr. Johnson, you can respond. You unmuted. You can go ahead and respond now.
First of all, I never said he was wrong about anything. I want that understood. Do you understand that, Ms. Tiffany?
Yes, sir, I do.
Okay. I never said he was wrong about anything. Everyone has a right to protect themselves. What I am concerned about, and I'm going to be frank with you, are black people. As far as my son goes, I deal with that personally when it comes to his safety. I'm talking about black people congregating together with the unfortunate, the spark of animosity of an enemy unknown. I'm not talking about the people we know who talk. I'm talking about someone stepping in between us that we don't even know about, causing the dissension to get to the level where black people fight black people. That's what I'm concerned about. Do you understand where I'm coming from now?
Yes, I do. But you also need to understand that this is all orchestrated by white supremacy. All of it is.
Whoa.
They're
I don't disagree with you. I don't disagree with you at all. The thing is, I'm wondering if everyone involved remembers that. Because black people have been divided and have fought one another so much, and the people who start us fighting sit back and laugh. This is how we have disintegrated so many organizations, always with the hidden, invisible hand. And so I'm looking at this and I'm saying, who is being rational here? Who is truly being rational if you get these two groups to go at it because allegedly it has been fomented by an invisible person? Sure, we know that these other people have caused all this verbal drama and it caused people to not like my son, and my son has said things that caused their people to not like him, and vice versa, back and forth. But my thing is, when you get to a physical level, the physical level, that's what I'm concerned about. All that high school jabber back and forth, name calling, that's one level. But now we're talking about getting physical. And I'm saying...
Right, and who started, sir? Who started the physical? Because Dr. Johnson, I've been following this man for years. He has never once told people, he has never once said, he's never once insinuated that his followers should go and break up businesses and bash up people and shut down black businesses. He's never done that. But it was brought to him. So being that they've already showed their hand, I'm calm, but you're talking over me. Being that they have already showed their hand about bashing up that yoga studio, he has a right. He has an absolute obligation to protect his property because he's already seen firsthand what they are capable of doing.
Okay. And I just want to say that until we can prove the culprit who did that. See, there's a difference to me between physical damage and personal damage. If someone put their hands on my son, that's something different to me than somebody busting out somebody's windows. But the thing is, until we can connect the people who allegedly was trying to disrupt my son's book signing, we have no clue if this could have been a white guy from Mississippi that just heard about two black people that don't like each other and said, let me go through something in this window and keep it moving. And I'll tell you this from experience here in Philadelphia. I was attacked by couple white kids out here dressed like Antifa while I was in the middle of a protest with these people. So I'm saying, I know for a fact what they can do. And I'm not talking about Antifa, I'm just talking about people, white people, black people, any kind of person that wants to start some drama between us. It's not hard to do. And I'm asking, has anyone given that a serious, thorough thought, as opposed to saying, okay, they're the enemy, we have a letter, that's enough. That's all I'm trying to understand.
All right.
So what is your suggestion? They sit up and they have a rally cry. They have this thing that they're doing. They want to have a protest. Are you saying that Dr. Johnson shouldn't take it serious and he should just sit around and wait and then do medicine after death, which means to be reactionary instead of proactive? Is that what you're suggesting, sir?
I'll tell you from someone who's been involved with military tactics personally in my lifetime. One thing you do is you seek out, you close with, and you destroy the enemy. But you got to know who your enemy is. He and everyone that goes to that school should already be in a mode of safety anyway, no matter what, because of all the garbage that's been on the internet. But when you take it up another level, you get somebody out there who's man to the T, ready to kick it off, and this guy doesn't have a clue except that he heard that somebody was coming, and you're going to have chaos. And not only that, you may cause irreparable damage to that school ever being built because of what happened in this one little incident. I'm just trying
Direct
to see...
question, sir. Direct question. Again, yes. I'm going to rephrase for the record. Yes. Do you think that Dr. Johnson should be reactionary instead of proactive by sitting up and doing nothing and hoping and waiting that this might be some sort of like joke or to not take this seriously?
Well, I did finish the answer to your question the first time. What I was going to say in the end was this. First of all, he being as old as he is, being well learned, and having quite a few people from what I see on the internet in Delaware, I'm sure that he could have gotten a group of people together that nobody knew was going to be the force that was going to really squash something if something happened. In other words, everybody doesn't have to wear a uniform for you to know they are the protection. So what I suggest, and what I told my man here, was he should just have a picnic, not after the fact. He should have it at the same day and time that allegedly this thing is happening. And he should have people there who no one even knows that they are the security, if it's needed. Because if it's not needed, then you're just having a picnic.
Okay.
And the thing is, wait, let me finish. And as a result, since everybody's there and the security is aware, but nobody knows who the security is, if people were to assemble then those people get in place because now you see the threat. But to have the perceived threat and no way to put your finger on your origin of the physical, I'm not talking about the verbal on the internet. I'm talking about someone that you can say, look, I see so-and-so, and he's the guy who wrote this letter, so that means we get ready to kick it off because he's here now. Now, she said, her and the other guy and all these other people, they have said things that truly have, if nothing else, insinuated that somebody should do something to my son. I'll say that right now. I know this. What I'm saying, I'm worrying about the harm of black people, not just my son, but the other people too, who may come to help him. Let me finish. To help him out. And I'm concerned about the women and children primarily, more than I am anybody. And black men should be worried about them first. And if you are worried about them first, then to me, when you say you want supporters, you didn't call for male supporters. You called for supporters, and you said us against them. Well, I don't want women and children in the midst of no foolishness like that if that's the type of environment you want to set up. Now, if you're having a picnic, then anybody can come. And then
okay,
hold, I didn't
Mr. Johnson.
I didn't cut you off.
You talked about somebody being long-winded, though. Okay, yes, sir. Yes,
guess
sir.
what? Because I sat here and listened to you. Mute her, my man. You muted me. Mute her.
Oh, hold on. She muted herself. Okay, all right. So hold on. Let me ask you something, right?
Go ahead,
so do you think he should map this thing out more strategically?
Yes.
Like
yes.
Send invites. Send private invites. Cut off the block. Like have a little block party. Put like a security yellow tape across it, and those who were invited get to interact within the picnic, and those who don't get to stand outside the yellow tape, so you know exactly who's what and who's against. Would that sound like a better plan?
Have you ever been to Delaware to the school?
Yeah, I've been there. Yeah.
Okay, you see that little area there with a kind of like between the two buildings, like a little lunch area there outside, like you could have like a little picnic there.
Mm-hmm.
You see what you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Okay, on the left-hand side that you put. Okay, if you were to have right there, okay, and then have brothers just standing there, right? If people come, they got to come down that one street and make a left, okay? If they come in direct. Now, if they're trying to do something subtle, sure, they could climb over fences and all that. But let's just assume they're doing a regular protest and they're coming down the main street to make that left. Well, somebody could be right at that corner and see that. Right. You see what I'm saying? And then,
so you just want the people to be protected. You just want the people to be protected, correct?
But I also want the mindset to be relayed that it's not about a possible attack. You see, because those people that need to know that are the security, not the women and children. The security should know that, and they should be in place. But the women and children should not have to be wondering if they're walking into a scenario that they already know is going to end up possibly in some kind of confrontation. That's what I'm saying.
Right. So you former military. I know you're a former Marine or whatnot. Have you put this? Have you forwarded this to Dr. Johnson yourself? Have you?
No, I do. No, I have not. And let me tell you why. Because I already know just by the conversation I've had with Miss Tiffany and others that they're on a different level than I am when it comes to stuff like this. And it's okay. But the emotions will kill us every time. Oh, let me finish.
I must interject.
Let me finish. No, I didn't cut you off when you were talking. He's talking to me now. Give me a second. And the point is, if I thought that there was even somebody in his party that was handling security, okay, I would definitely suggest the way in which they should handle this. And the other thing I need to let you know, we do this now in our protests. We don't always go to protests expecting to confront the cops. You know, we don't always, but there's always somebody in there just in case. Because you got to look out for the women and children. And in that environment, with such a small space that is, because it's mainly buildings there. So there aren't very many places they can run to if something were to hit the fan. You see what I'm saying? And these things have to be taken into account.
Okay. Ms. Tiff, go ahead. You can interject now.
Okay, Mr. Johnson, I'm going to ask you a series of direct questions, and I'm going to respectfully ask that you give me one-word answers for the questions because I'm going to go somewhere with this. Sir, do you believe that Dr. Johnson is a moron?
No. I will not answer.
Do you believe?
Direct questions
It's a
like
yes
that,
or no, sir. It's
we
a
can
yes
have
or
a
no. If you
conversation,
believe,
but I'm not doing
Doctor,
it.
Mr. Johnson, do you believe that your son is not smart at all? Okay,
I'll
you're
say it
not going to
again.
answer. I'm going to go ahead and answer. No, he isn't. So you should already know that he already has a plan A, B, and C. He's not publicly putting his entire plan out there for the public with no backup. You have to have a little bit more faith in your sons. He is an extremely smart man, and he is a
Ma'am, it's not.
strategic. I'm not done yet. He is
So
a
what?
strategic. He is a strategic chess player, and he's very, very brilliant. He's not going to sit up here and recklessly put women and children and men and cats and dogs in harm's way. He's not going to do that.
Can I speak now? Let me say this. I've seen some things that I have been truly disappointed in that I know at minimum should not have occurred. At minimum. And I question what is the rationale and the intelligence behind those actions. Now, maybe there's something that I don't notice, but the end result comes out to be exactly what I expected. So when I speak to you, just as if I would speak to him, it would be with the knowledge of the past and the way in which things have been handled. This is not out of just naivety. And also, in addition to that, I have been following my son since he came out of his mother's stomach. Understand that. Since he came out of his mother's stomach, there's nobody around that has been following my son longer than me. Please understand that, and I wish his followers would understand that.
Okay,
You'd be
Ms. Reed?
surprised you'd be surprised, like we all do. We know our children.
Miss Reed, can you turn your camera on one time? You backstage. Nobody can see you except for me. Miss Marina? I don't know if she can hear me or not, but I see you trying to tap in. You just have to turn your camera on one time for me to see you, then turn it off. Oh well. All right, Tiff, you want to interject?
Yeah. Yeah, it just seems as though that Mr. Johnson don't really have full faith in his son's ability and leadership ability. And he seems to think that his son is reckless, and that is absolutely not the case. I don't think that having a black party in the middle of December is a smart move. I mean, you got to be kidding me. In the middle of December, when the weather is frigid, he wants us to have a barbecue. That's his way, and that's fine, and he's entitled to have his way. So with all due respect, Mr. Johnson, when you build an institution to help Black and protect Black children, you can do things your way. And I guess nobody should or would critique you for that. But for you to come out and publicly criticize Dr. Johnson when you're not building anything, no institutions in our community, and the one man out there who's out there spearheading protection of Black children gets a public critique from his own father, sir, I find that problematic.
Can I say something?
Go ahead.
Let me say one thing first, Miss Tiffany. I never said that he was wrong in what he's doing. What I offered was an alternative because according to what I read, and I assume it's being read by everyone who looks at that posting, he asked people to come out. So if it's cold, it's going to be cold whether you're having a picnic or not. It's going to be cold either way. Now, the only reason I suggested a picnic because it gives a scenario of peace. It doesn't give a scenario of confrontation, which appears to be the picture that came along with the us versus them poster. Now, you have to take everything into consideration. And that's all I'm doing. And let's get something else understood. I know you think that you know my son better than I do, and you're entitled to think that. But let me tell you something. I love my son as I do all my children. I would never sit up here and say anything against my son, even if it's interpreted that way. Everything I say is for the betterment of not only him, but his future and the future of the Black people that he says he wants to help. So when we sit here and we talk like this, understand you're not talking to somebody that's young, and you're not talking to somebody that's uninformed. What I am is concerned. I'm concerned. That's all I am about him and about the people that follow him. I'm concerned when I see some of the garbage and rubbish that's being thrown at him that he throws at other people. I'm concerned because it doesn't do anything for black people right now. The school, sure, the black people, the children will benefit greatly, and I hope he gets that darn thing done. But until then, we still got black people dealing with black people, and there's so much negativity involved. That's my concern. So I'm not knocking my son. I wish you stopped pushing that narrative about me. I am not jealous of my son. How can I be jealous of someone who I hope would develop into at least the level of education that he did and make the decisions based on his educational level? Why would I be jealous of that? It doesn't take, it's not, you know as well as I do, it doesn't take much to sit around and look at TV while your child is trying to learn something and then he wound up graduating and can't even write his own name. I was actively involved in my son, and I'm sure you know that already. So don't sit here and please make it appear like I came out of nowhere and I'm going to act like I'm dad and I want to take some credit. I don't need credit for anything, ma'am. I've done enough times too. I'm just here now trying to make sure we don't hurt each other. This is not about my son as much as it is about the other people involved. And I hope you would try to understand that. I'm not against my son in any way, shape, or form.
Well, that's a matter of opinion, sir. But for the record, I never once said that I know him better than you. I've been following and been a follower and a student of Dr. Johnson since 2015. So I've never once said that. I've also publicly stated that I do not speak for him or the school. I'm only speaking for myself. Last but not least, sir, the only way someone can form an opinion that you are against him and you are jealous is because of your actions towards him being public. Yes, sir, being public. No. Someone can formulate that opinion simply by the way you move in these YouTube streets, not because they're just pulling an opinion out of their behind.
Well, let me say this. The only thing I've ever knocked, and I still think, and I still believe, number one, since, you opened this door for me, Miss Tiffany, and it's good because a lot of people feel like you do about me, and you're entitled to that. I don't have to prove anything to anybody, but I do need to set you straight about something. And the first thing I need to set you straight about is I didn't want to come on the internet about my son at all, but I'm not going to let a child that come from my loins sit around and do things that are totally contradictory to what I know, that he knows is better than that, and that he knows is better than that. I did not come out about my son until he just went on that rampage with that young man a while back, which I thought was totally disgusting, and I was shocked that my son even talked like that. You got to understand, I've never heard my son use a profane word towards me in his life. Do you understand that? In his life. So to sit up here and hear my son on a national level cursing, swearing, and all this, I was appalled. And I just felt, and believe me, I reached out to him more times than you can count to say to him, what is wrong with you? And of course, he shut me down because he thinks he knows what he's doing. Maybe he does. Maybe he has some diabolical plan that I don't understand. But the bottom line is I have nephews, I have nieces, I have grandkids. They're asking me, Pop, what's up with Uncle Umar? They're asking me, did he mean what he just said? So, we all have the same blood flowing through our veins. You have no idea. You can be a student of him since 2015. I'm not going to be a student of him, but I've known him since 1977. Okay? I'm sorry, 1973. I got to mention some other kids. The bottom line is this. Umar is who he is, and he can be that. But when it comes to other people, especially impressionable people, people may misunderstand him and take things too far. Allegedly he was connected with a guy in Kansas that supposedly had shot some cops. Somebody tried to imply he had something to do with the way this guy was thinking. I was like, what? But then they claimed they found some paraphernalia that Umar had written in the guy's house. So what? Everybody buys a lot of his stuff. But the thing is, do you see how that can be misinterpreted? And then you get the police and all these other people involved. My son is in so much threat that I don't even think y'all even think about it because y'all caught up on this internet. I'm thinking about the powers that be that I know about for being inside. And I know what they can do. And that's what I'm afraid of. I'm not afraid of this internet BS that y'all caught up in. This is garbage. I'm talking about the powers we don't see that can take him out of here. And that have taken many people out of here that enlighten us. And that's why I'm saying, when we get so caught up emotionally that we go back and forth and tit and tat And the people are watching everything we see and do. You know that. They know damn well that I don't want nothing bad to happen to my son, but they also know that my son is intelligent enough to get people to do certain things that may not be beneficial to him, okay, because he may think it's the right thing at the time. The last statement he made about Palmer, and he said, somebody took that out of context and made it appear like he telling the guy to go and get Palmer, get with him. You know, get with him doesn't necessarily mean the same thing in Alaska that it means in Philadelphia, but people can attribute that to him. And this is what I'm concerned about. It's about what's coming out of people's mouths and the way that other people interpret it. So please don't misunderstand me. There's not one of my kids that could tell you that my dad hates Umar. They would tell you in a minute, my dad would take a bullet for Umar, because those are my children. So I don't know who you or anyone else thinks you are, that you could evaluate me in just a matter of a few years and say, oh, his father hates him. His father's jealous of him. His father wants to be him. You have no idea what I'll accomplish in my life, Miss Tiffany. But I'm not going to sit up here and give you a resume, but I will tell you this. Ultimately, the best thing I could do with my son is remind him I'm still the same man that he knows me to be. Anything that he's heard me say, he knew I was going to say it. Even if he told y'all he didn't. He knows who I am. Believe me.
Okay, since you brought up Gerald Palmer, go ahead, I'm sorry.
Ms. Thorne, you have to turn your camera on one time. Okay, now you can turn it off. Okay. Go ahead, Tiffany.
Since you brought up Mr. Palmer, you do realize, and I don't know if you're aware of this, that Mr. Palmer, or Reverend Palmer, has been cyber stalking your son for years, making up lies about him and just vilifying him with no proof whatsoever.
I agree.
Dr. Johnson has a right to be frustrated, irritated, and to take action towards that. Do you agree?
I agree. Hey, no, hold on. He can be frustrated. What's the other one?
I'm sorry, sir?
Hello? You said he could be frustrated. What's the last thing you said?
And he has a right to respond to that. You know, I mean, I'm not saying that Dr. Johnson has never said he wants to go and choke him out or anything like that. But I'm saying anybody would be pissed off.
Miss Tiffany.
Hello?
Tiffany,
don't cut me off. I didn't cut you off. When you speak, I mute my phone, sir. All I'm saying is that, look, this is what I say. This is what, no, I'm not, I don't want to hear that until I'm done. I'm going to ask for you to give me the same respect I'm giving you, sir. So this is what I'm saying. Dr. Johnson has a right to be frustrated. Anybody would be. If you were stalked and harassed for years by a man, years. I mean, he's been ignoring it and taking the high road for years.
Okay, Miss Tiffany, I don't disagree with anything you said about what's happened to him. I do disagree in the mode that has been taken on how to address it. My son has a doctorate. My son is not a high school graduate, period. He has a doctorate degree. That means he's very fluent in the English language. That means he probably has friends who are lawyers. He does not have to succumb to the ghetto garbage that has been spewed at him. The same way that it gets spewed to him, he spews it back. He doesn't have to do that. Do you realize that this man knows people that could probably squash these people like a bug? Then why doesn't he do it? I don't know. But how do you think it looks, though, to those who say they want to be like him if they hear him using profanity, insults, ghetto language as a doctorate student? He's a doctorate. He's graduated. He has his degree. I know this for a fact. So for me to sit and watch, hold on, Miss Tiffany, 1 second, please, really. For me to sit here and watch my son, who's a doctor in his field, be drawn into this garbage that's being done on the internet is extremely, extremely embarrassing and hurtful to me. You would not believe it. You could only know this if you had a child in his position. That's the only way you could understand possibly where I'm on these streets out here because I want to save lives, not because I want to harm anybody. Why would I want to save other people's children and not care about my own? But I can't sit around and watch my son denigrate himself and not remind him that he still has a father who's looking at him and saying What's going on with you, man? Now, if you don't want to answer the calls, that's his right. No one has to listen to me. No one has to answer my calls. No one has to respond to my emails. But I know for a fact that he knows that he is extremely, extremely being judged by the people who know and love him. And I'm one of those people. And as a father, as a black father, I'm going to say whatever the hell I want. And I don't care what you or anyone else thinks about it. Because y'all don't know my son like I do, even though you think you do. But the bottom line is, I don't want to put my son 6 feet under. For nobody. For nobody. And I think that this rhetoric and the way that people have become emotionally entangled in this foolishness can go to the left quickly by somebody that's not mentally stable out there running these streets thinking that they're defending, quote unquote, the black race. That's what I'm afraid of, Miss Tiffany.
And I hear you, sir, but what I want to remind you of, and I'm going to, this is going to be pretty much my last comment unless someone directly addressed the question to me, is that your son is not 16, he's not 20, he's not 25. You're well past the age to parent him and tell him how he should respond to anything. He's old enough and a father himself to make his own damn decisions on how he responds to anything and anybody. You're sitting up here giving the rhetoric like you need to raise him and steer him and rear him. And with all due respect, sir, he's past that age. The man is old enough to make his own decisions. And if he wants to respond his way, he should be entitled to do that without public criticism from you. Thank you.
Okay, now let me say this. I'm assuming you have children. I don't know if you do or not. But if you are a parent, you will find out that parenting never ends. Children go back to their fathers who are 90 where they're 60. Because we've been there, done that twice. That's why they come to us. Let me finish.
Parenting doesn't end, but it alters.
Let me finish.
It doesn't end, but it's altered.
I sat here and listened to you, Miss Tiffany.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So let me finish.
Yes, sir.
Let me finish, please. I will never, ever. I have a daughter that's almost 50 years old. Do you think that if I saw her do something that was inappropriate, I wouldn't talk to her about it? My son lives on the internet. So if that is his house, I'm going to knock on his door. And I could care less what you or anyone else thinks about it. And my children know me well. They've asked me to stop talking to and about him with this foolishness. But guess what? They're my children. They're not me. I'm a father. And if a lot of other black men gave a damn, maybe a lot of y'all wouldn't be on here with this foolishness in the first place. Because this, I'm not done, Miss Tiffany, because this does not in any way speak highly of him or the other people who are attacking him for us to go back and forth on this platform like this in front of the whole wide world.
Sir, your son, in a respectful correction to you, your son does not live on the internet, quote unquote. He lives in the community. He does not live on the internet. That right there shows that there is a disconnect between you and his relationship. Because if you knew him on the level that his students and his followers know him, you would know that he doesn't spend 24 hours up and on the internet.
Where do you get his followers from?
Again, like I said, he doesn't. And now what you stated was that parenting never ends. You are 100% correct, sir. Parenting doesn't end, but parenting is altered depending on the age of the child, meaning this. If you have a 5-year-old, do not cut me off, sir. I'm trying my best. I'm holding on to be as respectful as possible because you are the father of my professor. No, I will not. No, I will not. And I was wrong for that. I was wrong for that. But right now, I'm going to be as respectful as possible because you are the father of my professor. But let me go ahead and state this. Parenting never ends. You are correct. My mom still corrects me to this day. But parenting is altered. You do not parent a 16-year-old the same way you would a 20-year-old. You do not parent a 5-year-old the same way you would a 19-year-old. You do not direct and guide a 20-year-old the same way you would a 35-year-old. Your son is well past the age for you to sit up and publicly critique him and bash him for his response when he's in his mid-40s and he is very smart. He is very well educated and articulate and calculating and a dynamic chess and strategic player.
Okay.
So he's not the type that you need to spoon feed and correct him and guide him as if he's a 5-year-old little boy, sir.
Okay. Now let me say this to you as somebody who has raised children since 1973, okay? And who has children right now who know that the way I am is the way I am. And if you don't like it and he doesn't like it, I don't give a damn. I'm going to be frank with you. And he knows I don't give a damn. Because the bottom line is his father in the way that he is. I've been this way all my life. I'm not changing. My son's in the street. If I see him out there, I'm going to call him. That's who I am. They know this. And that's why a lot of them don't deal with me if they think they did something they shouldn't have done. And it's out of love, Miss Tiffany. It's not out of disrespect. It's out of love.